the Broken Lotus. In a serene monastery nestled amidst lush green mountains, a young monk named Kalpa was gifted a delicate lotus flower by his teacher, Master Sona. The lotus was unlike any other. It was pristine, with petals so pure and white they seemed to glow. The gift was given as a symbol of the monk's progress in his spiritual journey. Kalpa cherished the lotus deeply. Each morning, he would rise before dawn, sit by the lotus, and meditate on its beauty. He often showed it to other monks and visitors, speaking of the kindness and wisdom of his teacher. To Kalpa, the lotus was not just a flower but a reminder of the path he was walking. Every morning, as Kalpa admired the lotus, he would softly whisper to himself, "This lotus is already withered." He knew that all things are transient and that one day, the lotus would inevitably fade away. This mantra was a practice to cultivate detachment and acceptance of impermanence. One day, as Kalpa was showing the lotus to a group of visiting monks, a strong gust of wind swept through the open window. The breeze toppled the vase holding the lotus, and it fell to the ground. The delicate petals scattered, and the flower was ruined. The visiting monks gasped in dismay, but Kalpa remained calm. He looked at the scattered petals on the ground and smiled gently. "Ah," he said softly, "the lotus was already withered." Without hesitation, he began to gather the petals and clean the area, his heart at peace. As Kalpa cleaned up the remnants of the lotus, he addressed the visiting monks. "This lotus was a gift, a symbol of my journey. But it was never meant to last forever. Just as the lotus withered, so too will all things. Clinging to them only brings suffering. True peace comes from embracing impermanence." Kalpa continued his daily rituals, but now, without the lotus. He carried on with the same dedication and peace, understanding that the true teachings of his master were not in the flower but in the lesson of impermanence it had taught him. Master Sona, observing Kalpa from afar, smiled knowingly. He had known that the lotus would eventually wither, but he also knew that the true lesson lay in how Kalpa would respond. The young monk had learned well, embracing the teachings of the Buddha in his heart. Kalpa's story reminds us that life is fleeting, and clinging to the material world can only bring suffering. By embracing impermanence, we find true peace and understanding, just as Kalpa did.